back now. So, Brian, tell us where you are and exactly what you've got there.
I'm several miles south of Fayette on 171. Unfortunately, got into an area where I lost you, James, with poor cell coverage. But I came back north just a mile or so. I'm still in the area that is just to the south of the couplet that is in extreme southwestern Fayette County at this time. I'm not indicating in the sky any sign of rotation where I am. And as we tell storm spotters, the meso should be fairly large, the mesocyclone, so we should be able to see some rotation. I'm getting some small hail right now, very small. It's probably pea size or smaller.
Yeah, and again, for those that are watching, we can double box Brian and me with the high-res radar behind me. Brian is working the southern storm. And again, the circulation does not look like a tornado down there for those of you watching on television and for Brian, but this is a cyclic storm, and we could see this tighten up again at any time. So I think the right thing to do is to maintain the tornado warning for the southern part of Fayette County. And again, Brian's right in the midst of that storm, but there's no doubt the one with the tightest circulation, Brian, is the one that is north of Fayette. This is crossing U.S. Highway 43 right now. I'd say it's crossing Highway 43 about 7 miles north of downtown Fayette. And again, our same communities we've called out for the last 15 minutes, Hubbardville and Glen Allen. If you're close to any of those communities, you want to be in a safe place until this thing passes. This is a dangerous storm that is life-threatening. And again, this has produced some significant damage in parts of Mississippi and the New Hope community, which is south of Columbus, part of this same cluster of storms. And the one that did the damage in New Hope is the one down here in the southern part of Fayette County. And again, that is very broad. That does not look tornadic at this point. And the Weather Service will watch this over several volume scans. And if it continues to show broadness and weaken, they will let that tornado warning expire. But I think clearly the right thing to do is to stay with it because this could tighten up again. But again, no doubt that northern storm is the one that is dangerous. Brian, I don't know if you can see. You're looking at radar and you see both of these things. But, you know, the storm that Brian is in right now, and again, you're watching his live feed in the other box, that is the one that came through New Hope, Mississippi, and did produce a tornado. So, Brian, tell us what you got there now.
Okay, James, the lightning has picked up, I can assure you. There's been some very close flashes, and the small hail that I was getting has ceased, and the rain has actually begun to taper off quite a bit. And it does look like this circulation is much broader as compared with that of the one in the northern part of the county. All
right. And again, I'm just getting a note here on the northern circulation. And again, the focus right now is on this one. The Fayette County Sheriff's Office, and this is coming from John Talbot, who is one of our sky watchers and does a great job monitoring law enforcement. Fayette County Sheriff reporting a tornado that is down now near Unity Church that is moving up toward Hubbardville and Glen Allen. So, again, we are having multiple reports now that this thing is down. And, Brian, what we probably advise you to do is don't move now. And, again, the first concern is for the safety of everybody. But, Brian, as soon as your storm passes, we might want you to go up 43 and look and see if you can find a damaged path with this thing that's about 10 miles north of where Brian Peters is. Brian is south of Fayette on the southern storm. This is the northern storm, and that's the one right now that really looks dangerous. And we have a confirmed tornado that is down. Again, Brian, when you think it's safe, we'll have you head back up through Fayette and go up 43.
I will do that.
And again, this is a situation where we encourage everybody to please don't take chances. You know, one of the tempting things to do in a situation like this, it's to, you know, go look out the window or go walk out in the front yard. As Brian said, and we teach in the storm spotting classes, you won't see most tornadoes here. We have different kinds of storms. This is not Oklahoma. This is not Kansas. This is not Nebraska. We have different storms here. We have HP supercells, heavy precipitation. Most of our tornadoes are wrapped in rain. We can't see them because of hills and trees and terrain features that they don't have there. And it's just not a wise thing to have this attitude, well, if I don't see it, I'm not doing anything. That's very, very dangerous. And many of our tornadoes happen at night. And, of course, we're losing the light of day as we speak. And, again, we're watching Brian's feed there. And, obviously, once we get into darkness, we have to rely on I tell you what, there we go. Thank you. I think that's the EMA calling me. So, again, we will check back with that in just a second. But, again, this is what could be a very significant tornado that is located now south of Glen Allen. Charles, I'll let it kick over to you for just a second.
Well, I was going to say, James, I think we actually have video from the storm that moved through southern parts, or in southern parts of Fayette, the storm that Brian is on, from back in Ethelsville. If we still have that, producer, let's roll that. And I think this was some damage that was from Ethelsville just a little while ago. Here's the tornado there as it was moving in to Pickens County. So this was the storm earlier as it moved across Pickens County into southern parts of Lamar and into Fayette. And that's that southern storm we've been watching for a very long time. Right now, it's probably in a down cycle. It still looks like it has a nice pendulum on it, but we're going to watch it closely. But you can see there that rotation, a lot of lightning with this storm as it moved through. And that's a pretty good video. We appreciate that. We just we don't want you guys out there trying to get us video like that. We just want you to be safe. If you're one of our trained spotters, we don't want you chasing. We've got guys that do that. We've got Brian and John Brown. These guys have been doing it for a long time. Very, very good at that. The main thing that James said just a minute ago, your safety is the most important. This is that southern storm, and again, more of a broad rotation passing south of Fayette now. That little pendulum, though, we'll keep an eye on that as it moves towards the north, and they're moving pretty slowly around, I would say 20, 25 miles an hour, maybe 30. And this is that northern storm, and you can see here, if you're in Hubbardville right now, you need to be in that safe place. On our big system, it doesn't look as well as that high resolution, but it's this area right here where we have the rotation moving towards Hubbardville, about to cross over 129, moving towards the northeast at about 30 miles an hour with this storm. But it's a very, very healthy looking storm just to the south of Glen Allen and headed towards Hubbardville. So you need to be in that safe place immediately. You do not need to be out on the roads. You do not need to try to find damage with this. A lot of folks will want to venture out, I'm sure, and to see what's happened. If you're in Fayette, you need to be in that safe place. Hubbardville in your safe place. Glen Allen also in that safe place right now. And the storms, again, I do think these storms are cyclic, meaning they'll re-strengthen. We'll be watching that same cell in the southern part of the county really all afternoon. As it moves into Walker County, I would not be surprised to see these warnings extended eastward. We have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings all back to our west. Notice just the major amount of lightning with these cells. Very impressive amounts of lightning. That's going to be something we'll watch into the evening hours. Severe storms back to our west, all entering into an area very favorable for rotation and for these storms to develop very quickly. As we saw earlier, we went from one scan of just a strong storm to one scan. The very next scan was rotating thunderstorm. The very next scan, a tornado warning was issued, it seemed like. So very quickly they have the tendency to develop. And here's Brian's live feed. Brian is really in the rain now.
Brian, where are you now?
I'm coming up on Fayette. The circulation to the south got so broad I felt comfortable moving up a little bit to the north. I haven't reached Fayette yet, but the rain is absolutely intense. It's very, very intense. I don't have another word for it. The visibility is very much down. I'm only doing about 30 miles an hour, as are the cars in front of me. Everybody's being very cautious. The wind is non-existent. There doesn't seem to be much wind. And the hail that I was getting, which was very small, has stopped. It's now just heavy rain.
And I'll tell you what, if we can take me with this image behind me, this is the northern storm. This is the tornado, and again, this is not the one where Brian is located. This is the northern storm. This is the tornado coming through Bluff. This is north of Fayette. That was that very tight circulation you saw there. And again, this is what we're talking about. You have a hard time seeing tornadoes here because of the trees, but clearly that might be a very large tornado. And again, the Weather Service called it a large, dangerous tornado in the warning, and it certainly looks that way. And again, the Sheriff's Office, they've been watching this, and this has crossed over Highway 43, and this is coming up toward Glen Allen, Hubbardville. So again, this is the northern storm, and I would imagine, Brian, you're going to find a damaged track across Highway 43 about 7 miles north of Fayette when you get up on the other side of town, based on this image that we're seeing here.
All right, James. Well, I'll be looking right now. I'm just trying to get enough visibility to see the road.
All right, and again, let's go back and put the high-resolution radar behind me. The southern storm is basically, there's no evidence of a tornado at all in the storm in the southern part of Fayette County. And you can see we've got nothing down here. So I would assume the Weather Service will let this expire shortly. It has been like this for a while. But up here in the northern part, this thing is just nasty. I mean, that is big, bad, nasty. This could be a very significant tornado in the